Hello and welcome. This is Cherie with Rehashfiber, and today's program is called Patterns and Peace. I'm going to share with you 3 patterns that have brought me peace in this past month. A month ago, I received the call that my mom had an aneurysm and was on the way to the hospital. So I immediately packed my bags with comfortable clothes and fiber art projects. My mom spent 26 days in intensive care, and now she is in rehab. So she is on the mend, and as we all know, there is nothing more valuable than our people and how important it is that we are there with them. So that is the most important thing that went on this past month. Now, moving on to the other thing that is always flowing through our lives, no matter what is going on. If you're a fiber artist, this is with us. And the reason it's with us is because it is a very soothing thing to have going on all the time. So what I'm going to do is share with you the patterns that I worked on and some of the other fiber art things that went on. So when I packed my bags, I packed the project that I had been working on, which is called the Yoke, and that is by Ella Gordon. It is with a fingering weight yarn, and as you see here in the sample picture from her Ravelry, it is worked bottom up, single color, and fingering weight, and that's going to take you a while. So this was a nice one to have with me because it was easy, just working in the round. There's the rib bottom, knit all the way up, and same with the sleeves. So that was a perfect thing to have on the needles because I could do it here and there. And interruptions were not a problem because you can just put it down and pick it right up again. So that was a wonderful thing to have. It is still in the works, and when it is finished, I will do a full show on that. But that is a handy one to have for any situation. So when I got to Wichita, I do this wherever I travel to. If I did not do it prior to traveling to that location, I always Google yarn store near me. What a blessing it was that there was a yarn store 4 blocks from the hospital. It is called Coast to Coast Yarn Company and just right down the road. It is in a really neat place made of shipping containers, and the way they're all arranged, it is an abstract kind of building with restaurants and shops with a central courtyard area. Very cute and modern. The store is beautiful. Walking through the door, it is laid out lovely. There's beautiful yarn lining the walls, beautiful lighting. It smelled good, and everybody was so very friendly. So Erin is the owner. I never met her, but there is another woman named Erin that works the store every day. So she was super helpful to me. I went in there stupid tired, asking stupid questions, and she was kind. I went back a few times more to get other supplies, and it was always a good experience. One time I went in after realizing I need to frog the Yoke sweater I'd been working on. I had been doing it continental style, and the stitches were all wonky, so I started again doing it English style, where I know that my stitches are always consistent. She was happy to help me with that. Got that thing rolling again. All right, so midway through, I realized I needed to make my mom a cap. She had been shaved for 2 surgeries in 2 different places on her head. And I thought she might want something pretty to cover up her head, or if it's coolish with air conditioning or cool weather, to keep her head warm. However, I was thinking indoor wearing, not a stocking cap, but just something pretty. So I found this crocheted cap called the Layer Cake Lace Beanie by Kirsten Holloway. It is on Ravelry. It takes DK weight yarn and a 4.5 millimeter hook. I went back to the Coast to Coast Yarn Company and found this beautiful brown yarn made by Coast to Coast. I wanted it to match my mom's hair color. So I didn't want her to feel silly wearing a hat that was maybe some color she didn't like. I went with a nice brown, but this has a little bit of tweed in it, so it gave it something different. Now, for this project, there is something different going on every row, which gives it that pretty little layer cake lace look to it. So you do have to put some thought into it. However, I had a whole lot of quiet time. I could go row by row and accomplish this cap. So my mom happened to have a birthday while she was in the hospital there, and I was able to give her her pretty little cap. All right, moving on to the next pattern. My stepdad, which is her husband, prior to all of this, had wanted a red cap from me. And so I'd had the supplies with me. I had this wonderful worsted wool by Cascade Yarns. It's Cascade 220, and it's Peruvian wool. It's a worsted weight, and I worked it on a US 8 knitting needle, 16 inches long. So this wonderful cap is called the Nice and Knit Beanie by Nice and Knit. This is another simple one where it's a rib for a while and then you just knit in the round all the way up. I added the stripe just to make something different. I chose the colors from the Nebraska Cornhuskers because I know that's his favorite team, and made this cap for him while I was sitting in the hospital. So these three things kept my hands very occupied and my soul soothed. There was a few people that took notice of that. There was one ICU nurse that saw me doing it and inquired about it. And I described it to her as just that. I said, this is like the rocking chair for the mind and the soul. And it helps me to feel better when I do it. She was curious enough that I told her information about the yarn store and that they would be happy to help her get started. There was another person when we were in the waiting room. She was a family member of another patient there and started inquiring, and again, told her the similar story, the yarn store and everything. So the people that see this comfort that it's providing, they become curious, and I hope everybody learns how to do it because it is a great thing to do. So in addition to that, fiber art entered my world in another way. My sister-in-law works for Kansas State Extension Center in Wichita, Kansas, where K-State is actually in a whole nother town, but they have the learning center there in Wichita. And she ended up getting a bunch of cotton for me. They have an agricultural program there. The gentleman's name is Jeff Seiler, and he is the agricultural agent. My understanding is that he or they grew this cotton to learn the process of it, but once they had the finished product, they didn't need the cotton and they were going to throw it away. So my sister-in-law knew that I also process and spin and knit with this. So she took the cotton that they grew and gave it to me, and I thought, what a fabulous gift. So someday I will process and make something with this Kansas cotton for you and everyone to see. It's going to be a while because my list of things is long, but I'm tickled to have it. So while in Wichita, it was interesting because I got to watch spring happen. I arrived when it was cold. There was a day it was snowing. Then there were days that were 84 degrees. But one of the most interesting times was when there was actually a windstorm and it had kicked up so much dirt. It was foggy because of all the dirt in the air. So I thought that was probably the most interesting, odd weather day for me. The trees were beautiful. I had not seen Bradford pears bloom in the spring, so these beautiful trees were full of white blossoms everywhere, and it was gorgeous. All right, so another fiber art thing. Again, in the wee early hours of the morning, and it was quiet, I was scrolling through Instagram in my mom's hospital room. Up pops information on the Sun-Kissed Fiber Festival. Florida is going to have its first fiber festival. Thank heavens. I was so excited. I immediately took those images and reposted them on my Instagram and just got super excited because I travel far and wide for fiber festivals, and now there's going to be one I can drive to. It's going to be located in Dover, Florida, which is just east of Tampa at a fairgrounds there. It is January 24th and 25th of 2026. I will be there both days. So if you come to Florida for that fiber festival, look for me. I will be so happy to meet you. It will be a blast. So in the meantime, between now and then, I will make more shows about other things that you can do. If you come for the festival, there's a whole bunch of other fiber art things that are great to do, and also just beautiful things to do in the Tampa Bay area. I'll share it with you. One last thing. This is the second time in 12 months that I have done a long hospital stay with a loved one as the family caregiver. And the first time around, I thought, boy, I sure would have liked a comfort cardigan. And in my mind, the comfort cardigan would be like a wraparound with a tie waist, a little bit long, made of wool that's comfortable, so probably a superwash merino. A dark color so it doesn't show dirt. And not too intensive of a pattern anywhere because I just want to get it made to have this blankety kind of sweater. So what I'm asking of you is that if you have something like that, that you've made or seen or have in mind or designed, send me the information on it. I will look it up, I will purchase it, and I'd be happy to make it. And I just think it'd be really cozy to have a cardigan to just wrap up in, and I'd call it the comfort cardigan. You can share that information with me if you have it at rehashfiber@outlook.com. I do believe I've covered almost everything that happened in the past month. So what I want to tell you is just happy doing your fiber arts that provide soothing moments for you, and thanks for watching.